Housewives in the New World.
The colonial era in North America was a glorious contradiction, a time when liberty took its first breath while half the population held theirs. It birthed American ideals and simultaneously entrenched patriarchy. Freedom was on the lips of every powdered, wig-wearing, tobacco-chewing landowner, but if you looked at the fine print, women got shafted. Welcome to coverture, a system that turned marriage into legalized identity theft. Let's wade into this legal swamp with a shot of rebellion and a chaser of the quiet, relentless defiance women poured into it. Coverture wasn't a glitch. It was the feature. The law told married women, in essence, you don't exist anymore. You're your husband's shadow now. Sign a contract? Not without your husband. Own land? Not a chance. Want to sue, inherit, leave an abusive spouse? The law shrugged. Your property now. It was a carryover from old-world feudalism, when kings and barons couldn't imagine a woman managing a farm, let alone her own life. But instead of leaving that medieval relic behind, colonists packed it neatly into their baggage and brought it to the New World like a cursed family heirloom. And yet, women didn't just sit around knitting regret. They worked, they resisted, sometimes loudly, often subtly, always necessarily. Take Anne Hutchinson. She didn't just defy the Puritan patriarchy, she flipped the table. When she dared to speak theology in public, they tried to silence her. Instead, she exposed the brittle insecurity of male authority. She wasn't just arguing doctrine, she was undermining the entire system. Most women weren't in courtrooms. They were in kitchens, fields, and workshops, keeping the colonial machine from collapsing. Behind every blustering colonial man was a woman churning butter, brewing beer, spinning wool, birthing children, planting crops, and running a small business from the hearth. The economy, that was women's work. Domestic labor was the scaffolding of survival. And yet they got no credit, no legal standing, no voice. Still, they endured. And in enduring, they subverted. Their strength wasn't in spectacle, it was in sheer, grinding persistence. And not all colonial systems were equally repressive. In Dutch and German communities, women could retain some legal identity, draft wills, manage property, even run businesses. Imagine the scandal when a Puritan man got legally outmaneuvered by a woman. These weren't just cultural quirks, they were cracks in the coverture wall, offering a glimpse of a more equitable future. The rebellion didn't start with suffrage. It started with Abigail Adams penning a quiet warning to her husband. Remember the ladies. He didn't, but her words lingered, smoldered, and eventually caught fire. By the 19th century, laws like the Married Women's Property Act started to chip away at coverture. It was slow, grudging progress, but it proved that resistance works, especially when it's rooted in principle and persistence. So what do we take from this? Colonial women were denied rights, yet they built the foundations of America anyway. They didn't just survive under coverture, they challenged it, stretched it, and over generations, broke it. That's not a footnote in history. That's the story. The colonial legacy is double-edged. It reminds us that systems can deny liberty while depending entirely on the labor of the oppressed. That equality isn't granted, it's wrestled into existence, and that even today, the ghost of coverture lingers in our politics, our laws. So here's to the women of colonial America, quiet disruptors, bold voices, and absolute badasses. They turned oppression into momentum. They didn't ask permission, and they laid the groundwork for every rebellion that came after. If they could do that in chains, imagine what they'd do with a fair shot.
So, you've subjected yourself to a portion of the RPTM podcast. We're aiming for a perfect balance here. We hope we triggered some reluctant chuckles, but even more importantly, we hope we've left you questioning the very purpose of existence. And if, by some cosmic accident, you actually found this clip to be somewhat intriguing, summon that oh so enthusiastic thumb and bestow upon us the coveted upward gesture. And hey, don't neglect that subscribe button either, because who would want to miss out on our impending onslaught of mind-bending dialogues?